they're just overused. All the things you said we'd try, they just passed us by. I'm getting sick of saving lives and leaving mine to dry. So I picked up the pace, left you, I don't need you, babe. Why does the world keep spinning round when all I did was hold you down? Feels like I'm losing patience when you keep me waiting. Why does the world keep spinning round when all I did was hold you down? It's so hard to save you when I needed left you, I don't need you, babe. Why does the world keep spinning round when all I did was hold you down? Feels like I'm losing patience when you keep me waiting. Why does the world keep spinning round when all I did was hold you down? But it's hard to save you when I needed Why does the world keep spinning round? And all I did was hold you down.
What is up, everybody? What's good? Hope everyone's doing well. In your part of the world, Wherever you are from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this little impromptu conversation, little chat. We got some leaders of VR MMO Church with us. And so, we're going to talk about some big news that's been happening, something that some of us have known for a bit, and it might be a surprise to some. So we want to chat about it, kind of process through it. And we'll do that here in a minute, but we're going to welcome everybody. What's up, Alina? What's up, Coldest? What's up, Pastor Coco? What's good? How you guys doing?
Doing good here.
Doing good. All right, everybody tell me what's going on in your part of the world, like 2 seconds, like real fast. Alina, anything interesting?
No, nothing interesting. I mean, this is interesting. This is really interesting. Do I need to have more? I know Pastor Coco's got more, so there's that. So, yeah, no, this is enough. Thank you very much.
All right. Coldest, how about you, buddy? What's going on in your part of the world, man?
Not much, but I do honestly think we have enough for today.
Yeah. I'm just trying to ease into it. You know what I mean? I mean, we can just plop right on. You know, it's fair enough. What about you, Coco?
Friday mornings is usually when I spend time studying for all like the different services for like Final Fantasy and VR Church and all that. But today, I was so distracted because not only AltspaceVR announcement, but also I teach how to design for VR, and we use MRTK, and they just laid off the entire MRTK staff as well. And so
explain MRTK.
Mixed reality toolkit. It's what they use to create mixed reality on various headsets, and tons of developers use this around the globe to create VR mixed reality content. And I teach how to use it and create it. And so I've been getting like, okay, now what are we going to do if they drop MRTK? Now what? What are we going to teach? And my students are DMing me, what now?
What now?
So I'm not only getting the church side of it, I'm also getting the work side of it. So it's been rough for me.
That's very interesting. It's kind of hit me now because you mentioned it, but we were kind of in a bustle getting ready. And now we're pausing to think. You're getting it from the church side and from the tech world side.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, double whammy for you. Alina, you're getting some shout outs for your hair in the chat. So
thank you, Lavender. Yes, phantom. And strangely, it's actually still pink. I don't know why. It's like
camera, I think. What color is your shirt?
The shirt is red.
The hype didn't transfer.
Oh, that's probably what's happening. Yeah,
it's the camera color.
Trying to fix it.
Yeah. What's wrong with this picture? You're not supposed to wear pink and red, but when you have pink hair, you're like super limited on what you can wear. Because anyway, that's not why we're here. But
yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Pastor Alina. So if you guys are just jumping in, maybe you're not familiar with VR MMO Church. We are a church that exists entirely in the metaverse. We were started in 2016 in AltspaceVR. And today's topic is going to talk about the shutting down of AltspaceVR. Some interesting behind the scenes things that we were already talking about. So we'll kind of share those. And so Pastor Alina, she is one of the co-pastors here. Coldest is one of our leaders. He teaches for the Rust Church. And so he does an amazing job there. I'd love to hear Coldest when he speaks there, and a big help as a Discord captain, keeping our Discord in check. And then Pastor Coco, one of the elders of VR MMO Church, as well as a pastor of Final Fantasy 14 Online. So that's who is with us today. And we have several other leaders, pastors, elders, who might be at work or away or whatever. And so they're not here at the moment. But yeah, let's jump into the conversation. Let's, not hold back anymore. And so again, one of the reasons we're here is to talk about the closure of AltspaceVR, and which is one of the homes of VR MMO Church. We have several, if you want to use an older term, like campuses. We have several campuses, and one of those is AltspaceVR. And we started out in AltspaceVR when we planted one of the first churches in virtual reality. That was in AltspaceVR. That was back in 2016. The short story is, and you probably heard this a ton of times, but let me just recap in case some people are new to the conversation. My wife and I were pastors at a physical church, left that to go plant other physical churches. It was about the same time the Oculus Rift came out, VR headsets. About the same time AltspaceVR came out. And I remember that. It was like a Friday, as clear as day, putting my VR headset out headset on, looking and seeing, oh, look at this AltspaceVR app. What is this? Going in there and discovering the metaverse. And I was just blown away. It was amazing. You think you've seen it all, and I've never experienced anything like it. A social VR 3D experience where you can connect with people, chat with them, go up to them and have conversations, turn to see people talking over there in the corner. It was just mind blowing, even in its crude infant state. Because if you guys remember the avatar system back in the day, it was very like blocky, like beady eyeballs, like very stiff, like avatars. And even back then it was just still compelling. And it was only a few days later where I was like, man, or that day I was like, it'd be awesome to try having church in here. Let's see what that's like. And 2 or 3 days later, had my first church service in virtual reality. And it was amazing. Like 5 people like swung by throughout the hour. And for a maybe a first-time church planter, 5 people coming in and out of their service for their first Sunday would probably be very upsetting. But for me, I was excited, man. And I think one of the light bulb moments in that happened was an atheist, one of our many atheist friends from our community who came in and was like, man, I don't believe in God, but I'm really curious to see what this, VR church is all about. And I've, as a physical church pastor, never experienced, just an atheist walking in to want to talk about Christianity, spirituality, religion, and all that stuff. And so that was the beginning of a beautiful journey where that first year, there was probably not many people who would say, hey, I'm a Christian, I believe in God, I'm faith. It was a very interesting community, which remains to this day to some degree. And so AltSpace is where we started. AltSpace is where we planted our very first church. And we just have such a beautiful history with AltSpace. They were very helpful, particularly when Microsoft bought them. So that's an interesting story. And I know Alina and Coldest and Coco, I want to get you in here, so I'll try to wrap these things up here. But because I want to get your thoughts on your memories with AltSpace, because I think we're probably going into memory lane here for the next few weeks, just to have fond memories, because I know people who are connected to AltSpace might be really upset that this is just shutting down. And so maybe going into memory lane, I'd love to hear the community on Twitch or YouTube kind of like share some memories or some thoughts about it. Yeah, I remember when the AltSpace almost shut down the first time. And so they're shutting down now, but I remember the first time it happened. I don't know if Chuck is here in the Twitch or the YouTube, but I don't remember what year. Was it 2017, Chuck? It might have been 2016. I'd have to go back and look. I'm sorry, my memory is fading on that one. But I remember the news came that the funding for AltspaceVR had dried up. It was back in the early days. And they had, like, Comcast was one of their backers. There's a bunch of other backers, and they stopped backing them. And so within a matter of like 1 or 2 weeks, the church, I think it was 2017, the church that we were kind of getting going was all of a sudden going to start fading away. And it might have been 2016. But I remember that moment where I was like, oh man, our church is going to shut down. We're just going to be non-existent. And we were going to have our final service. It was like August of that year. We're going to have our final VR church service, and we're going to say our farewell. And then the Sunday came and the servers were still up. And if I'm not mistaken, and Chuck, if you're watching, I think the second Sunday came after they said we were shutting down and the servers were still up. So we're like, oh, what's happening here? And then the rumors. And then we found out Microsoft purchased AltSpace, the startup, social VR startup, and they purchased them. And from that moment, they were like very supportive, very helpful, help us to get our church off the ground with technical problems that we were having. Because if you remember way back in 2016, 2017, there was some major bugs. Sometimes we would, spawn into like zero. There would be no church there. We'd just be on a grid. So we worked through a lot of those bugs, and it was just been a beautiful journey. And not just the technology of virtual reality, not just the amazement of being in the metaverse and that experience. It really comes down to this: the relationships we've created, the connections, the conversations, the collaborations from people within our church, outside our church. It's been such a beautiful journey of relationships. And I'm not going to spend time on this because I know we could spend a whole, conversation about how digital relationships, are they real? Can you even have them? But for us, we've developed such close friendships that have begun in the metaverse. and have continued to this day. And they're deep relationships. And so when we talk about AltspaceVR closing, it's more than just technology. It's about relationships and memories and locations. And you know how VR is and how it affects the brain. To kind of see that fade away, right, is difficult, I think, for many in our community. And so there's a lot of things I could say, but I just wanted to kind of set the tone that just for a few moments here, I just want to think of like the fond memories that we've had, some great experiences. There have been hilarious, unbelievable moments, crazy, very sad, maybe tragic moments with people that are going through very difficult things. But Pastor and Lena, in a second, I'd love to just to kind of pick your brain. And then, by the way, this is no pressure for any of you, but I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity. And then I want to read the chat on Twitch and YouTube just to get some, to see what you guys thought about AltSpace over the years. And then after we do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's coming, because in the fall, just a little quick thing, we were thinking about moving away from AltSpace to begin with, and we'll talk about that in a second. And so that's a little teaser for what's coming here in a second. But Alina, okay, before we even met at VR Church, you got a VR headset. You came into AltSpace. I don't know, just I'm not looking for anything in particular. Just wanted to hear your story about that.
Okay, so AltSpace has and always will have a very special place in my heart. Pre-AltSpace, I had the PlayStation VR. And Rec Room came out, brand new Rec Room. And I went into Rec Room, and I went into their general meeting space. And at the time, there were many children running around screaming and anyway, being little children, which is wonderful. Yay, little children. And at the time, in that couple minutes of experience in Rec Room, I decided it wasn't for me, but I realized that social VR was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing prior to Rec Room coming out. And so when Rec Room came out, and at that time, I hadn't given it a chance, and it was very, very, very new, like day one, actually, on day one. So at that time, I put down my headset and I hopped on the internet and I said, where else can I do this? And PlayStation was no other place. But AltSpace showed that you had to have the PC version. So thankfully, we could do it. I immediately bought a computer and a headset specifically to come to AltSpace. That is what got me propelled in the direction to be where I am today. So now I'm going to cry. But so I'll cry, sure. But anyway, so AltSpace will always have this really special place in my heart. And so I came to AltSpace, and I was one of those people, the people that, yes, we laugh at. I was one. And you don't seem like you used to. But I was like, someone spoke to me. I was in the campfire, and I'm like, are you a real person? You know, because I thought, no way are these actual people. These have got to be, you know, like a game. But sure enough, they were real people. And it only took me a week or two before I discovered VR MMO Church, and that changed everything. I can't express what a joy it's been, and what a joy it's going to continue to be, right? Because this chapter maybe closing doesn't, we're just getting started. Really, truly, we're just getting started. There's some really amazing, wonderful, powerful times ahead, and I am so excited to experience those. But Frey, oh, he's already built me in VR chat. I can be my old purple robot self, because I remember.
Yeah, that's a cool avatar.
Yeah. I remember I bawled when they took away the purple robot, because at the time that I was very much identified, and this is something maybe many of you will experience as well, where there's this real attachment to the avatar. Particularly, you've been the same one for so long, and it's like a losing a piece of self. So it was really, really hard for me to lose those robots. But what came out of that? After that came some really cool new things, and a self that was more me than the purple robot in the first place. So like with every loss, there's something amazing around the corner. And the specifics, I give so many. I remember your very first build with the well. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. And that how that little thing propelled us in this whole new direction. And you never know when these little things, these changes, you never know what they're going to do. And I have faith that God's going to take us exactly where we're supposed to be. Even if in this moment it's sad, I can't take that away. It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Very sad.
Yeah, and Diber, yeah, we'll talk about some alternatives, things that we're already in, and things that possibly might be coming. So hang tight on that thought there. But yeah, Alina, I think there's a lot of things you mentioned that I would love to highlight. One is, yeah, we're just getting started. Absolutely, just beginning, just coming out of the gate, just scratching the surface with this whole Metaverse church thing. And so, yeah, because ultimately, really, VR Church is a church planting movement at the end of the day. It's not like a singular church experience, 1 hour event. It's a community, it's a global, international community that's church planting across the metaverse, right? So even if AltSpace went down or this one went down, the mission continues, the vision, the values of growing in our love for one another, growing in our love for God and others and ourselves. So that's never going to stop. Coldest,
Really?
I know you're more of like a VR chat, Rust guy, but I don't know. What do you think about AltSpace? Did you have had fun in that
No, I,
experience?
I I actually liked well I am still liking until it's gone forever, but I still do like Altspace. I think there are different definitions, different way we can talk about VR chat and Altspace and Rec Room, and I think Altspace might be the more vanilla, quote unquote, but that is for better for worse. Like it's a little bit more boring than VR chat. It's less crazy, less fun than VR chat, but still it is a comfortable, safe, easy to handle space. You know what I mean? So when we are trying to do something serious, I think we all appreciate all the tools and all the commodities all space can offer us. Because yeah, as you just said, I am preaching on Rust, and Rust, preaching on Rust is absolutely fantastic. But that is like the Wild West,
Yeah,
so
absolutely, absolutely.
it is funnier, whatever. But all the tools Allspace gave us really, really eased the way.
Frey says, I'm going to miss so many people via connections, but also the hard part is going to be seeing the campfire from 2017 to vanish completely. Yeah, that's like iconic for those that were early to the metaverse.
Mm,
Seeing the old church world templates vanishing. Yeah, I remember our original church was built by a sushi chef from Tokyo, Japan. Like he wasn't even let's say I think he would identify more as an atheist, and he wanted to help us build our church. I thought that was beautiful. Tanabe, if you guys remember Tanabe from AltSpace, an early VR creator. Just the fact that it's going now hits harder. Yeah, and I think that's again, maybe some of you are here like, oh, what's coming? What's next? And we'll talk about that. But we wanted just to kind of honor the past. Kind of like, I don't know, maybe one way to view it is like the passing of the baton that's happening to some degree. But Coco, you've been preaching in the metaverse for some time. You're part of our teaching team. Been preaching at AltSpace. You're a VR, not just an enthusiast. Your job, your career is around virtual reality, and so maybe we'll talk about the technical stuff later with like with your students and your view of what's coming. But I don't know, just kind of some general thoughts about AltSpace before we move on to the future.
Yeah, I actually had one of those purple robots, and I still would prefer the purple robot to the avatars that are there now, because I don't like not having a choice of being a robot if I want to be a robot. But yeah, I haven't been in VR church as long as y'all have. I think all of y'all have been there longer than me. But I have enjoyed going in there and teaching, and it's so the first time I ever went in there to teach, like for Allspace, I don't remember when it was now, but sometime last year, I guess. Right? Maybe.
I'm sorry, I'm super laughing because we've been doing this for a good year or more on a regular basis. And
I have no idea
I
how
just
long
got
ago
you to
it's been.
stop saying I'm a guest teacher.
Yeah,
Guest teacher.
I didn't say guest this time.
We just got that.
Just now. And
Well,
now it's going away.
Yeah.
Oh, just real quick, like when you're talking about the time frame, like when someone says, it's been 6 years, I go, what are you talking about? Like my brain hasn't kept like up with like how long it's been. It's now weird to talk about it in early VR church. This is what it was like. Now we're talking about it in stages. But anyways, you mentioned, the time. So, but continue. Apologies.
But so the first time I went in to teach in Allspace, I had to move away from my local church because I was going to a local church, and I had to move away from it. So it had been maybe 2 years of going to church remotely, and so I was just watching on a screen. And then when I finally went into VR church to teach, I was there again, and I was listening to the music, and I was seeing the people around me worshiping. It's like, this feels just like it did back then. I'm remembering it's like how good it felt to actually be present in worship, even instead of just watching it on a screen. It brought back the memories and made me remember, and it made me feel like it felt just as legit as being in a church building, standing in front of the speakers, going deaf at the music in real life. So that's the most memorable moment I have of Altspace, and how it's you don't know until you go in there and you experience it for yourself, regardless of which VR experience you're going into. But that's my fondest memory of it, is like that memory or that bringing back that feeling of, okay, yeah, I missed this. I didn't realize how much I missed it until I was there. Yeah.
I relate very much.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that sense of presence. I think that blows people away when they experience it for the first time. The Metaverse, social VR, that sense of presence, a sense of like connection, relationship, the experience overall, I think is really compelling. So yeah, there's just so many stories. There's so many, we could just spend time on that. Maybe we'll do that. We'll kind of keep moving the conversation moving, because I think we'll do an after party on our Discord. We'll just kind of hang out in the VC if anybody wants to chat, just kind of just a hangout moment, and we can get into the specific stories. But man, there's so many from those early days, meeting the early leaders of VR Church, starting the first elder team, that realization that this church is no different than a physical church, that kind of epiphany. And then just kind of pioneering, doing baptisms, getting criticized, and then just continuing the mission, going into VR chat for the very first time, no building, just this empty room, just gathering in the corner with all these avatars. That was just an amazing experience. Getting into the rec room, and then, which is amazing. We'll talk about rec room here in a second. And then, needing to back out of it for a bit just because of, available manpower, human power. And then now we really want to get back into it, and we'll talk about that. And so the launching of MMO Church with Rust and Final Fantasy. So it's just been an amazing journey. And Altspace has definitely been a part of that. And we're so sad that it's coming to an end. And there's still some time to do some hangouts. Pastor Lena, kind of maybe just a quick mention about maybe what you're planning, something perhaps weekly, or maybe just share a little bit about that.
Yes, I have to come back with the day and time. I got to check out my calendar, but it's very important to me. I'm going to schedule 1 hour a week, every week, as long as we have access to just come and be with each other and share stories and express our feelings. The team that the build team that's created so many experiences for us. A vast majority of that, I don't believe we can extract or save. I think that is going to be lost.
Unless
And,
someone knows how to do that.
unless someone knows.
Let us know.
Yes, please.
So if somebody knows, let us know.
That would be huge. Thank you very much, Pastor Coco. If it's regardless, we want to take some time to just go and appreciate what so many people have done for us over the years in creating these experiences for us. So we're going to go an hour once a week, and it will be what it needs to be. If this is the week that we really need to talk and cry and pray, then that's what that will be. If this is the week that we're ready to go and adventure and just see time experiencing these creations that have been made for us, we're going to do that and just once a week, as long as let us in. And I'll let you know here.
And
Yeah,
you
right.
never know. Maybe somebody will buy them and take care of them.
Hey,
Yeah,
happened
true.
last time.
It happened
Like,
last time.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I thought Microsoft will sell it though. They don't seem like the selling type, do they?
I don't know.
Do they sell their tech? I don't. You would think they've sold Mixer, but well, that's like we can get off on that.
Yeah.
Hey, Pastor Zach, I see you in the chat. One of our elders as well. What's up, Zach? Liberty Church Online. This week I'll be celebrating Liberty Church Online 1 year anniversary. That's amazing, man. I love that. So yeah, that's awesome. Just joined Twitch a few days ago, so being here really helps me. Glad to have you. Absolutely welcome to be a part of this at 100%. Let me just let's see here. Just looking through the chat. To see.
If I may, and it has to do with
Yeah, go for it.
Aaron actually said this in the one thing that we see a lot, and it's perfectly normal, of course, is a lot of I'm going to miss you. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss the people. I'm gonna miss, but it's really important that you know you don't have to miss anyone. Like we're still gonna be here. We may not be in Altspace, but we're still going to be here. And I do hope that the new things we're going to be doing, that you won't do like I did early with Rec Room when I said, oh, a bunch of kids here, hang up Rec Room and go find something else. It worked at the time. It got me to where I'm at. But I hope, I understand that it's hard for us as human beings not to group, label, and make judgments on groups of people, because we just love to do that in all aspects, right? We just love to lump people together and then make judgments about them. One thing that's so important. Oh my gosh, if I never went back to Rec Room, I would have missed out on meeting so many incredible people. Seriously, amazing people. And Feeder Chat, the same thing. And with all these platforms, we hear what used to be my outlook. The same experience I had where I hung up the Rec Room, jumped out of it, not my cup of tea, made this big judgment on my 2 minutes. We're still going to be here, and I really hope that everybody can set aside that attitude that's really hard to fight against, the lumping, the judging, before we know what it's about. That you'll give it a chance. You'll come with us to where we're going, and not only do I think that you'll be surprised that it's not what you had imagined based on what everybody else has told you, but even if it were, here's the thing. Just like Altspace, we created this place where we can share God's love with everyone in a way that may not be the same outside of our environment, like the services and the meetings and the places that we go. So when we go into a new platform, basically there's two choices. You can make the judgment, lump the people, and lose the connections, the really important friendships and people, because you can't get past that preconceived notion that you've created for yourself. Or you can come help us turn it in to what it should be. Seriously. When you go to VR
that's
chat,
that's a really good point.
Yeah, right. You can go to VR chat and you can experience a great many strip clubs, sure. But you can also go to VR chat and experience what we as a community created it to be, which is amazing and wonderful and filled with joy and filled with love, filled with God, filled with kindness, thoughtfulness, goodness. But that's because all of the people that came into VR chat created that there, right?
Yeah.
And so
It takes a community to build a community, not just leaders.
Yes. So
Ooh, somebody tweet that. Somebody tweet that. Takes a community to build a community. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's powerful. Somebody asked about VC, voice chat on Discord. So if you're not on our Discord, it's at vrchurch.org, and maybe I'll post a link at the end. Excuse me.
Oh, perfect.
Horizons. We're going to get into it, Bible and Blues. But the short answer is every time we bring up Horizons with our community, nobody's really excited about it, and maybe we'll get into details of why that is here in a bit. So. Yeah, I agree with Liberty Online. Discord has come a long way for people to connect and stay involved. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Absolutely true. All right, so let me do that. There we go. All right, so yes, if you're just popping into the stream, we're talking about AltSpace shutting down. Something we're really sad about. We have very fond memories, a lot of history, a lot of images, pictures, videos. I mean, it has been we have so much documented from our time in AltspaceVR. So there is such a strong, at least for us and our purposes, a strong historical record of our journey and our experience there. And I think that's going to be beautiful to look back, 5-10 years from now and be like, whoa, look at that. When we're in the singularity, like, I don't know, floating around and doing whatever. Oh, yes. Thank you, Jake the Snake. Yep. Somebody tweet that. Takes a community to build a community. All right. So now where do we go from here? Because we're still going to hang out in VC. We're going to chat about the fond memories. We're going to get some hugs going, maybe get some tears shed because we've had a lot of community and experiences, fond memories in there. And Pastor Lena is going to do some events in AltSpace, like farewell tour, if you will. So we just want to take a moment and just really celebrate what AltSpace has done, what Microsoft has done. But what about the future? So let me give you a little bit behind the scenes of what's been going on. There is a lot, so I'm going to try to keep it very short. Our leaders have gone through a lot in the past year. So, sicknesses and injuries and families and moving and just there's been a lot from all of our leaders going through stuff. And so, but behind the scenes, there has been this conversation. I think as early as the fall, where there was this kind of not concern about AltSpace. That wasn't the, no, I guess maybe a little bit of a concern, maybe a little hesitation, where the question came up, is AltSpace the future? And we were just having conversations about it. We weren't making judgments like it's bad, or we weren't saying it's this or that or the other thing. But the idea was, as we move into the future, what's next for us? And one of the conversations we have is, well, at one time we were in Rec Room, but we're not anymore. And we're really in AltSpace. But a lot of our times when we gather together in the metaverse, we don't really go to AltSpace. AltSpace is an amazing place for events, amazing place to hang out. But we really found ourselves hanging out in Rec Room and VR Chat, those two metaverses for the most part. And the conversations were like, we really should be focusing on VR Chat and Rec Room, really getting into that. And as a matter of fact, we were wondering, do we stop having AltspaceVR services? That's a conversation we had, back and forth, like maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't, can we try to add both? And it was really more about bandwidth and how much human power we had to execute our vision. And so there was even a conversation at one point of like, we're going to drop AltSpace so we can put in Rec Room, because we really do believe that, or at least I do, and I've been saying this, and I think some people kind of have the feeling as well, that one of the dark horses of this whole metaverse Web3 is going to be Rec Room. Who knows what's going to happen at the end of the day, but that was kind of the thought there. there's a really special element when it comes to VR chat. A horrible place to have an event, but a very special place to connect with people, to have connection and collaboration and conversation. VR chat's amazing. And so all these questions and conversations have been happening actually for months before this official announcement came. And there's been a little whisperings, little rumors about AltSpace shutting down. I would see it probably every couple of weeks. It did pick up the last couple months. I started seeing it more and more and more. So I think it was just leaking out more and more. But, you know, for VR MMO Church, for the leaders, our vision is to continue to church plant across the metaverse. And one thing we felt is that we might be in the MySpace era of the metaverse. Do you guys, I don't know, did anybody have a MySpace back in the day before Facebook, you know, Instagram, TikTok, and all this stuff?
I was one of those that built my own website and didn't use MySpace.
You skipped MySpace completely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And
What a
so,
flex.
Cole, did you have a MySpace?
OG.
You're too
No,
young.
no, I didn't, but I actually do remember using it to check other people's MySpaces. Yeah.
I remember GeoCities Phantom. I remember
Which one?
GeoCities.
No, I didn't see this.
GeoCities.
Whoa.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that.
pulling way back.
The
Wow.
good old days, man.
I loved it. Yeah.
We
Yes.
were young and crazy.
Yeah, Shot Rec Room is available on Oculus VR. So that was kind of like our observation. You know, I think even before this happened, you know, this is like the MySpace era. It's not quite there yet. It's not connected to the blockchain. There's still, we're working out the technology. We're working out the functions, the expression, and it's getting closer and closer to mass adoption. And we still think that's where it's going. And so in that conversation, that's why we felt like, maybe we don't do AltSpace anymore. What do you think about Horizons? You're not really excited about Horizons, to be honest, as we talked with the community. So a short story long, just so that the community knows, we've been having conversations for a long time about all of this stuff. And so in one sense, we're sad and a little bit surprised, but in one sense, we're kind of prepared for it. We were kind of like making moves in just how we're seeing the technology move as we're seeing how the metaverse is shaping up. And so to some degree, surprised, but also not. Kind of like shocked, but also we're also prepared. It's a little bit of both worlds, if you will. So let's talk about the future. One thing, like I mentioned before, is VR Church is fundamentally a church planting organization. Like that's like who we are. We have an apostolic like bent to our ministry. So a pioneering into new spaces, just kind of just going in and planting churches and communities, whether it's Rust, Final Fantasy, AltSpace, and VR Chat. And really, Rec Room is one of the things that we think is going to be very important to move significantly into in the coming weeks. That was one of the things that, if you're following VR Church and you follow our season structure, coming up for season 6 of VR Church, was it going to be a big push into Rec Room? Like lots of energy, lots of conversations already happening. We were trying to maybe do it in tandem with AltSpace, but now with AltSpace gone, we're like, boom, this is it. We're going full blown into into Rec Room. And honestly, it's something that we're really excited about. I think Rec Room is very innovative. I don't know their team. I don't know them behind the scenes, but I'm watching their development from a distance and going, these guys are very innovative in what they do. They've really created some fantastic tools. It's not perfect. There could be some, hacking elements, some event management kind of situations, or the UI can be very confusing. But there's just something that's happening there that I think it's a significant and compelling. I think it's going to be a dark horse. I think people are sleeping on Rec Room, but I think it's going to be fantastic. And I could just talk on and on about it. But if you saw, we did our Christmas service in Rec Room back on December 23rd. And you could just tell what we're able to do in there is going to be so unique and so special from a world building, because that's one thing about VR Church that's very significant is the worlds we build, whether it's Rust, even decorating in Final Fantasy 14. We were having conversations about how we can do that in VR Chat. That's a little more technical, but Rec Room, I think is going to be very special with what we can do, what we can accomplish. And I think let's put it this way. The experiences you've had coming into AltSpace, I think are going to be just multiplied going into Rec Room with what we're able to do. Like when we did the Christmas event and the angel was like flying around. Remember the moment with like Joseph and Mary, and then the angel was flying around. That was unique. With the star coming up, the animated effects, the circuitry, it's just another level of world building. And I think our world build team is in one sense prepped and ready to go to really tackle some unique builds. So I think, and Alina, we've talked about this, like how amazing our world build team has done in AltSpace. I think you're going to be even amazed. And just their hard work, by the way, what they've done, what they've accomplished is so unique and so powerful that it just has taken VR Church to a whole other level. It's so unique. And I know it sounds strange, but even as like when you think of church history, these world builders are doing stuff we've never seen before in the history of the church. So it's really unique and really special. I could keep going on, but I want to pause because I want to give you guys, Alina, maybe some thoughts about Rec Room building, all those things. Love to hear your thoughts.
Yes. Well, first, Rec Room. I love Rec Room. I told you early, if you were here when this first began, how I went into Rec Room 5 years ago, whatever it was, and it wasn't for me, and that's what brought me to AltSpace. But now that I've actually gone in and spent some time in Rec Room really is awesome. Rec Room is where, when I'm not doing something for church, when I'm just hanging out, want to do something for fun, I go to Rec Room. Rec Room is really cool. Please give it a chance. The building, oh my gosh, all of our builders are so excited about Rec Room. All of them. Just what we can do is times a gazillion. It's just this whole world has opened up to us. What we can do, including bringing, because we always want to try and make our services with the involved as much as possible with the people. And we've experimented like with stopping and taking time for everybody to talk. We've experimented here and there about how we can bring interactivity where it's us holding the service and not a pastor on a stage, but we go do this together. And Rec Room has this whole other element that brings the interaction of the people that are coming to the services can get involved in the service itself, including like the Christmas thing where we had people put on Mary and Joseph. And they became Mary and Joseph with a click of a button, right? And the Joseph went and laid in bed. Laying in bed, and the angel comes out. So like, there's a lot of opportunities that we are really, really excited about. And from a build, we're like horses, just ready for that gate to open. We are so excited to get into Rec Room.
Yeah, Rec Room's great. VR chat's great, and I think what's going to provide us some more bandwidth, because our bandwidth is pretty maxed out, right? Doing all the things that we're doing, bivocationally, all these aspects of a church, and so I think paring down the AltSpace and really focusing on like Rec Room, VR chat. Obviously, we'll continue with VR MMO as far as Final Fantasy and Rust. I think it's going to really create opportunity for us to not just grow, but to really strengthen what we have. And so, I think, and the world build aspect of Rec Room is just next level. So it's a lot of fun. I think it's going to be great. Have you thought about planting through 5M or Red M? I haven't heard of Red M. 5M, interesting. I would love, one of my dreams was to always plant a church in Los Santos, GTA. We started going in that direction, but it's from the non 5M side too hacky. There's too much hacking going on. You couldn't properly do it, but possibly through a 5M. The only thing about 5M is its complexity to set up. So it'd only be for a very subset users, which could be a thing. You know what I mean? We could totally get into that. I think for me, in the GTA world, I'm looking at GTA 6. Hopefully that they'll work out the glitch and the hacks that can be accomplished, and maybe we can create a community in that city. Would love to do that.
Yeah. But again, that relies on the community to help build out because we don't have the bandwidth to do
Right.
everything.
Yeah. Do you feel like Rec Room? Do you feel Rec Room has the same mod capabilities or better to help with trolls during services? Alice, we should have gotten you in here to answer, and you still can, Alice, if you want. I'll send you the link to this, or maybe you can just answer the chat either way. Because Alice is our Rec Room leader. She has a lot of knowledge and in-depth just perspective of the culture, the building, all things Rec Room. Alice is our pro with that. My quick observation is it does have good moderating capabilities. Not perfect. Let's just say that AltSpace was perfect. Let's just rate that really high. Great for events. AltSpace did a great job with moderation. I think Rec Room is a bit lower than that. Could you still use some refining, but definitely way better than VR chat. Okay. Because
As
VR
far as
chat,
moderation.
yeah, as far
for
as
sure.
like moderation. Yeah. So Alice, maybe you can shed some light. But Christmas service was stressful. So much went wrong. But that's the metaverse, man. That's like VR chat, things go wrong.
Wasn't it entertaining?
Wherever it did go wrong, yeah, right.
I don't remember the end.
Alice, at least you didn't go while praying off into a corner by yourself. And, yeah.
Lena prayed and her avatar just kept floating across the screen. Yeah, and that's Aaron. You brought up a good point. Rec Room, and that's one of the killer things about Rec Room. It's accessible on everything, like consoles, like that alone. Xbox, PlayStation, the
iPad.
mobile phone, the iPad. Yeah, all the VRs. Yeah, that's the killer feature. Rec Room was good in and of itself, and then you add this aspect where it can be accessed by everything. Just makes Rec Room just head and shoulders above everyone else. So, yeah. But you do have a good point. The interface of Rec Room, Yanis, is a little bit much. It takes a bit to get used to. Even now, I'm like, oh, where is this? Where is that? There's just a lot. So hopefully that'll get cleaned up. But once you learn it, it's not that bad. And I think, like Alina was saying, don't miss out on Rec Room because it's a little overwhelming at first. The style, perhaps the aesthetic, the ambiance of just, it's a younger crowd, the tech, you open up your watch and there's so many options, because behind all that is really the dark horse of the metaverse, something really unique. So,
and behind all that is still people, right? That's why we're going.
We're not going for the UI. We're going for the people.
Exactly. Yeah. So we can't forget about the people. It's worth it.
Yeah. That's kind of the core of like how we started out. Like, that's why, like, maybe someone's popping in like, well, what's the big deal? It's just AltSpace. You just go to Rec Room or VR chat. Well, it's community, it's relationships, it's memories. And so that is very real, even though it was virtual. So that's why it's a big deal. But yes, Rec Room is free on every platform.
It's free.
Yeah. I have been wanting to share something like right now.
Yes, go for it. And I need to step away for 1 second. I'll be right back. So continue, Coldest. Give me 1 second, but keep going.
Okay. So if you remember when we actually started discussing season 6, and you guys were asking like, how do you see, how what do you think about keeping using, keeping using the Outspace for season 6, right? And I do remember many people were like not really fond with Outspace, and I was like, no, I really think Outspace is like a strong alternative, right? Like a strong tool. I think we need to stay on Outspace. But I was like kind of alone, quote unquote, on that opinion, let's say. And so I said like, okay, maybe I am getting this wrong. Okay, maybe I don't know. And now now we got the big news, right? Now it's actually happening. This is going nowhere. So now it is very, very clear to me that I got everything wrong at that particular moment. But
You're the
still,
wrong one.
many people were actually using Altspace for whatever purpose, and now they are gonna be looking for an alternative, obviously. And so, what are the alternatives? So we got Mesh, which is like not there actually, so it still needs some time, some minutes left in the oven.
Mhm.
We also have like Horizons, which I don't like Horizons, and I don't think
Quest only.
many
Mm.
people do.
It's limited
And
to the
yeah,
quest.
Very
there are
limited.
many problems associated with it,
Yeah.
being quest only and stuff, right? And so this only leaves us basically with VR chat and Rec Room, right? And VR chat is super fun. VR chat is amazing, but as we already said, it is the wild west of VR, right? And Rec Room is the closest thing I would say to Allspace. It's different, obviously, but it is still similar, or at least more similar than VR chat is. So
Mm.
I am assuming, Rec Room is gonna get a big influx of people in the upcoming months, obviously.
Mhm.
And on this very note, DJ just said many people were sleeping on Rec Room, and I do actually got to say I was sleeping on Rec Room
Mm.
because
Yeah.
I didn't give Rec Room like a proper chance when I got into VR like for the first time. I just went for Altspace for the events and whatnot, and to VR chat to have fun. And
Right.
I didn't even look at Rec Room, and
I
now I am
used it.
looking more and more into it, and it is absolutely amazing.
And then
I've
real
used
quick,
it to hang out with friends. That and VR chat to hang out with friends during COVID lockdowns. That would
Mm.
made a huge difference. Being able to be with other people in VR during lockdowns, especially when you live alone, that's a huge deal to be able to be in VR with other people.
Yeah,
So I was using Rec Room for that. We'd bowl. We'd do
Yeah. It's a fun
bowling.
place to go. It just
Yeah,
is. It
laser
is.
tag.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
yeah,
this is kind of just
It's good
extra, and
times.
not to meant to discourage, but just to observe. I think some churches are going to sleep on that. I think they were reliant on this video streaming of AltspaceVR. And so some of the conversations and coaching I've been having, I was like, listen, you got to get into avatar teaching. People don't go into the metaverse to watch like an hour stream, right? Even like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Like you go into the metaverse for the experience of it, the social, the world building, the avatar interaction. And so I think unfortunately we're going to see churches drop out because VR chat's going to be too jarring, and Rec Room is not going to meet their technological need to stream. And so, which is unfortunate because I think maybe if you're listening, and this again, I'm not trying to be discouraging, just it's meant to be like get in there and try it out. And now's the time to get into avatar preaching because the metaverse isn't meant for video streaming, at least for like watching full services and watching it over there for an hour, right? Someone said, let's see here. Do you build on PC? And if so, can all platforms join your rooms? Yes. Alice, correct me if I'm wrong. I think all platforms can join your rooms. I don't think there's a limit.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
PC only, like VR chat
Yeah,
has
it's
certain
not
limits.
built on the PC and uploaded like you would do for VR chat. It's built in Rec Room. You go in there and build.
Yeah,
Right?
in VR, just similar to
Yeah.
Altspace. Totally different. And a Rec Room is so much better for building, but in the same way, you go into it, into the space as the presence, and then you create it around you from within there, whether it be the standalone Quest or PC or PlayStation. Alice, you'd have to tell me how building is in 2D. I'm not sure, but all the VR opportunities are the same way, and it's for everyone. If you build a thing, it's for everyone. They don't have PC or Quest or different rooms, different categories.
Yeah.
Good. All right. I'm just scanning the chats here. Let's see. VRC. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Phantom, the discoverability of church and Altspace. That's a good point. Although I think Rec Room and VR Chat have unique that group feature. I think is killer that we just got into with VR Chat to be able to add people to a group, kind of like a social space. Yeah, I think that's interesting and unique. Oh, Alice, are you joining us? All right, Alice, get in here, get your avatar up, and then we'll. Oh, we got a special guest with us, guys. We got Alice. She's going to come answer all your Rec Room questions. Just send me a DM in here, Alice, when you're ready to join. Let's see here. Anybody else have? Just kind of reading quickly through the chat here. How do I join one of your meetings? I've seen some of your videos on YouTube and would like to join. I'm on Oculus 2 and PSVR. Yes. So one big thing is to join our Discord because we have our events at the top of Discord. You click on that, get a little bit of info. So we'll be on Altspace for a little longer. Obviously, we're talking about it shutting down, so it's not much. That's a good place to start. But this might be a great time to join in, Josh, because we launched a Rec Room. We'll get a Rec Room team together, and we're diving in, baby. We're just not even playing around. We're just going in full steam ahead, and that's going to be exciting. So we're going to be talking with the elders about a launch date, transition date, all that stuff, and it's going to be sooner than later. So there are going to be some fast transitions happening. And I think it coincides perfectly with season 6 that we've been working on with VR Church. So,
And I just saw a comment in there that, again, we're not going away just because we're not going to be in Altspace anymore. There's no reason to say farewell.
yeah, true.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Altspace it is still just a collection of tools, or just a quote
Yeah,
unquote
it's like
virtual
changing
virtual play.
buildings.
Yes.
Would you stop going to church if they moved buildings?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it depended on where. If it's like an hour away, maybe. But this is not an hour
Oops.
away.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, good point.
My bad.
Whoa, what's happening?
Alice, we can't see or hear you. You're a black screen.
Oh, Nathan.
I have to check your video audio settings. We'll bring you back here in a minute. Nathan Shand, VR has changed everything. Thanks, MMO Church. That has changed everything. I still love. Oops, my screen changed. I still love the community for God on there. I had people pray for me. Love that. That's awesome, Nathan. Yeah, thank you.
And
for sharing that.
Nathan, this is awesome because this community for God that you've discovered on there that that you love so much, we're going to Rec Room. So the same community. We're still here. We're gonna go create. You all create what it's going to be. So if you want to be part of what that is, we need you to come with us. Let's make it.
We've got Alice. Are you here, Alice? Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hey, there's Alice.
Is it
All right,
all
guys.
working now?
It's time to ask all your Rec Room questions. Maybe you already did. You might have to post them again because I was trying to catch up with the chat. So if you had questions about Rec Room, Alice is our resident professional expert on.
There's other experts
yeah.
in the chat as well. We've got some experts in here.
Yeah, your microphone sounds a little messed up. You might want to double check that real quick. It's a little staticky.
I have a Rec Room tip.
Yeah.
If you're
What
the
if
person
I
who talks with your
move
hands, don't use mute.
like this?
Is it?
How's that?
Can you hear? Is Alice staticky or?
She is. She's cutting in and out.
Yeah, I think it's her internet
Okay.
connection or something.
I think you're
Look at
good.
this.
You might be good
Get
now.
rid. Okay. I just moved closer to the microphone. Is that better?
Oh yeah,
that
it
sounds
is,
better. Yeah.
Way better.
Okay, that's great.
Oops. Sorry, keep messing with this. I do recommend. I wish the avatars were better. Yeah, that'd be like if you had a pros and
I
cons
agree.
list. I would
They
say
need more
the-
hairstyles too.
Yeah, the avatar system is a
What?
bit dated.
Grim.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
earn hairstyles. You can earn more hairstyles. Be like,
You can earn them,
okay.
but you have to have a bad one until you earn a good one.
I think you're.
Well,
I think
that's how we spot the
back
newbies.
again.
Yeah.
That's how you
it is.
spot the newbies. Bad
Yeah.
hair.
Their bad hairstyles.
But I like you have. It's like real life. You have to have like better clothes. You have to go out and and or create them. You can draw your own
You're
t-shirts.
you're still breaking up though.
Yeah,
Right.
Mike's still jacked.
Yeah.
Sewing Desert, I remember you, buddy. It's one of our early volunteers at VR Church in Altspace.
Ah,
Yeah, what's up, man? Good to see you.
If I just turn the camera off, there we go. We can just close the camera.
Is that causing the problem?
oh, maybe.
I don't know. If my internet's bad, maybe.
There you go. That
Is
could
that
be it.
better?
Talk to us.
Yep.
So far.
Yeah.
I'm
Talk to
talking
us,
to
Alice.
you. Hi, Caldas. Hello. I'm talking
Yes.
to you.
It sounds better so far.
Yeah, actually.
Hi, cool. This I'm talking to you.
said
Speaking of VR ministry, VR churches, I'm really excited. It's kind of a side trail, shameless plug for our podcast. One of the episodes coming up is going to be about Alice, the future queen of hell. That was her name when she came into the VR churches and Twitch and Jade and Cornerstone and all those experiences. And now she's the future queen of heaven. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a fun,
That's not quite no name, but
fun experience. The future queen of hell. My Carrie was talking about that. My wife, she was like, I remember, because I think we had you greeting one time when you had your name, future
Was
queen
that
of hell.
it?
And so she was a greeter. And see, when we were in the metaverse, there's a lot of things that don't phase us. We don't think about. And then when you zoom out and look at it from like an outside perspective, it is absolutely ridiculous and crazy. And so you come into church and you're greeted by the future queen of hell. Right? Welcome to church.
oh,
You know
I
what
just
mean?
thought, yeah, that's
Well, to be fair, we were all using like anime and dinosaur avatars in VR chat, so I mean, it was a completely different world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I don't see any major questions about Rec Room. But Alice, is there anything you wanted to say? You're going to be one of our major leaders going into Rec Room. Like we're going to just kind of like I don't know if this sounds right, but just go behind you. We're just following you in, and
She's
we're
the
going
mother.
in. Yeah, we're going in big. We're going in like full steam ahead. I think it's gonna be awesome. I don't know. Do you have any generic thoughts? If you don't, that's fine. But if you had some thoughts you want to share about Rec Room.
Well, with building and both building community there and building objects and stuff. Well, for the builders, anybody who wants to create in there, I'd just say don't be discouraged. It takes a lot longer to learn, and like everything in there takes a lot longer to learn than Altspace, and it's just spending time in there. But there's also a lot greater things you can do. So.
And Alice actually teaches a class that you can
Yeah.
jump in and join. It's 12 weeks, I think. Reach out to
Yeah, around about that, yeah.
Alice and see when the next one's coming around if you're interested. She'll teach you.
Yeah, she's
Yes,
a great teacher actually. But I think your course is actually ending next week or this week. Or?
Well, people are on their group projects at the moment, so that means it's just come to an end, really. And then they're just doing their final project, and then we'll do a special graduation ceremony in VR. So if you do learn to build, like the staff come and look around your rooms, the actual Rec Room staff, and you get a green gown for graduating to say, hey, look, I've started to build in Rec Room and create. And then, you go on your merry way.
You get a trophy.
Yeah.
You get a trophy. That's fun.
Yes, yeah. We have special trophies, yes. Yeah, we will take it like a serious high school class. But very
Sewing
casual.
Desert, did we miss something? Weren't we already doing Rec Room? Yeah, we had a church there at one point. Oh, at least, Lena, do you want to say something?
Oh, I was
I saw
just going
you.
to say what you're saying. That's funny because when he left, that was the time we were in Rec Room. I remember.
Yeah, we did have a church there. We had some leaders leave, and then we kind of stepped back because we didn't have enough kind of leadership and volunteers. We tried to start it up again, but again, it was just more of a bandwidth type of thing. We've always been hanging out there. We've always kind of, at least sporadically, have just been doing events in Rec Room lately, a little bit more consistently in kind of preparation for what was coming. So if you kind of look back a few months ago, like why are we in Rec Room each week? That's kind of like building up to this moment. Why did we do a Christmas event in Rec Room, kind of building up to this moment, right? So, getting back into Rec Room, I think is going to be huge. So, that's a really good point. As soon as we announce it, we're gonna build a team. We're gonna need your help. We're going to need world builders. That's going to be a significant part of the unique experience of VR MMO Church. It reflects the experience age that we're going into. We're leaving the information age and we're going into the experience age. And part of that experience is world building. So we're going to need some more world builders. Alice is a fantastic teacher. There's a steep learning curve, but at the end of that curve, you're going to find some fantastic tools that could help you just build worlds. You think of Leonardo DiCaprio and Ellen Page in the movie Inception. Remember, they were walking through Paris, building worlds with their minds. That's the same thing that you're going to be doing. It's not too far from the truth. You're going to go in there and your mind can just build anything. And with the technology, with the circuitry, with all these things that are involved with Rec Room, it's just going to be at a whole other level. Again, AltSpace was great, but there was a limited aspect to the tech. Rec Room really opens things up. So we're going to need world builders, greeters, teachers, prayer, there's just so many things that we're going to need to help launch VR Church well into that community to make it a fantastic experience. This is a great time. If you're kind of in between ministries, or you're looking for a place to get connected. Maybe you're a pioneer. You like to get things started. Scaffolding, that's totally a ministry type of thing. Kind of get things rolling. This is a great time to join up with VR MMO Church, to join up with Alice's team, with Alina and the World Build team, and we'll get in there. We'll get our teachers kind of integrated. So Pastor Coco and Lena and Zach, Pastor Bismick, we're going to need to get, acclimated to teaching in a new environment, but they're pros. They've been teaching in Rust, VR Chat, and AltSpace anyway. So I think it'll just be a seamless
I'll have
transition.
to get used to teaching around children. I'm not around children very often. So
Yeah. There's a little bit of
something to get used
to.
Yeah. They are there. But isn't that cool though?
It is cool. It is cool. Yeah.
Really, church-wise, how there are going to be kids who are really excited to come to church, and in today's day, that's less and less and less and less, and it wasn't super high earlier. Mom and dad's making the children go to church on Sunday. These kids are going to be wanting to come to church. How cool is that?
It was fun watching the Christmas service because the kids were wanting to read. They were all excited about getting to read.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a great service. Let's see here. I think we're going to start landing the plane here any minute. Then we're going to go into Discord and just kind of hang out in a live VC and just chill, hang out, that type of thing. So if you're not in our Discord, the link is right there, discord.gg/VR MMO.
Did we want to say anything about VR Chat? Because there's
yes,
part of our community.
Yes, thank you. And actually, I was, and I forgot, and then you reminded me. So thank you for that. So yes, VR Chat is like Coldest is saying, it's the Wild West of VR. I think it's a special place. It's not really good for events, if we're just to be completely honest. Like AltSpace had that kind of nailed down for the most part. VR Chat does not. There are definitely some issues. It's a Wild West. I think if it's people's first time in the metaverse, I don't know who's listening or watching, if you've never been into the metaverse, VR Chat's going to be an interesting place for you. But we love it. At the end of the day, we love it. We are Pastor Coco has been leading this team called the Unity team. It's behind the scenes. It's a handful of individuals that are working on updating the current world that we have. They've been calling it triaging. And so they've been updating that, making it, because there's some issues with the world with, I don't know. Performance, baked lighting, stuff that I don't know. Maybe, Coco, do you want to give just a quick, you know it better, so I should stop talking.
Well, we've been updating the performance, fixing some things with that. There was a lot of real-time lighting in there. We've baked the lighting so that it's not, so whenever you go in there with a Quest or something and there's a lot of lag and everything, part of that had to do with the way the environment was originally built. And so we've gone in and fixed a lot of that. And it's going to be updated very soon. But we have been working on it. We just needed a Unity team to do it. And we've actually constructing that Unity team in a way that it's going to be sustainable long-term, because leaders can't do everything. We are bivocational. We only have so much time. We need our community to help us. That's where y'all come in. And that's why we need you. We need the community. The community needs each other. This is how we make church work. This is what church is. And it's not the building, it's not the location, it's the people working together to help each other. And so unity, we needed a sustainable unity team, so that we can continue to work on VR chat and make it better, because we do have plans for it as well. We just need the sustainable team to get there, because it
Yeah,
does require unity.
And I love the approach that you've done with Coco to thinking about sustainability, because oftentimes in our past, and maybe this is kind of get off on side trails, things that we've started maybe haven't done well, or maybe they quit, or maybe we're played catch up because we didn't think about sustainability, because we are pioneers, because we like to get in there and do it. Sometimes Coco is like the systems. Let's think about systems. Let's think about sustainability. Let's think about how much, and that's great, because Pastor Alina and I have kind of in some ways have overstretched ourselves, overextended ourselves, and there's been some holes in the church, and this thing wasn't as good as it can be. And that's part of the pioneering, which is fantastic. But then also there's a balance. And so I love what the Unity team, Coco, has done. They've created a system. We instituted whatever that plastic technology is.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So when the world is updated, it's just hard. Can't explain it all, but
All he has to do is push the button.
yeah, push the button. Exactly. And so anyways, I could go off on that, and I don't understand it all, but I can see how sustainable it is. And the Unity team has done a fantastic job. Hopefully we can get that world uploaded for Sunday, is the plan. I'm supposed to meet with Zach today, not Pastor Zach, but the other Zach.
Another Zach.
Yeah, no, the other Zach, and see if we can get the optimized world up. So that should be ready to go on Sunday. Visually, aesthetically looks the same, but should function very different. And then behind that is more projects to build unique worlds for VR chat. So I think we're heading in a really good direction for VR chat. And I love that place. Every time I go there, I'm like, man, I need to be spending more time here. Every time I go to Rec Room, I kind of feel the same way. Oh man, this place is amazing.
We do want to do a lot more with VR chat, but since it requires technical knowledge of Unity, we need a team for that. And right now, we just don't have very many people. That's why we haven't seen a lot of change on VR chat side. But we do want that. We just need to build that team up bigger.
It's just more complicated to
it's
do
more
those
technical.
changes.
Yeah.
Like in Rec Room and in Altspace, anybody can jump in and learn the thing. It's much easier. I do have a suggestion though for VR chat coming up. So for those of you that haven't been in VR chat and you don't, you hear things, we are making our judgments and summaries of grouping people doing that thing that we do as human beings. So for a few weeks, we're doing a podcast on Thursdays just to help us as a church better see the future, I guess would be a way to say it. Something that should help us all in our personal lives and then us collectively as a church. So on Thursdays, we're doing that for a few weeks. But normally in that time slot on Thursdays, we spend an hour in VR chat. And so we'll get back to that really soon. And I encourage you, if you're not been in VR chat, you're sitting here, you're an Altspace person, you're not sure if you want to try Rec Room or VR chat as an alternative. Remember Discord, the events section, keep your eye out on Thursdays for when we have these VR chat adventures. And it's just a small group of us joining in VR chat for whatever it's supposed to be. If there are people that are struggling and need prayer, then it's prayer. It's often fun and games and just community, just spending time with each other, and in a smaller group where we can discuss and friendship and support and fun. Anyway, suggest you come to one of those first. Get your feet wet. Ask your questions. How does VR chat work? And kind of like go into the swimming pool via the stairs instead of the diving board. If you're interested, might be a way.
Yeah, and not to beat a dead horse, but I like what Alina's saying about don't miss out on Rec Room and VR chat, because however you go into it, especially if you're an Altspace person, you might be like, oh, I don't want to get into this. Don't miss, like Coldus was saying, he was sleeping on it until he got into it. So I think that front, let's say the front door was a little bit like, oh man, what? You kind of take a peek into the first room. I'm speaking metaphorically. Like, oh, what is? I don't want this. Altspace is better. I'm closing this door out. But if you go in, go explore the house, get inside, sit down, hang out. I think you'll start to really enjoy it, and you'll discover what we're talking about. Because what we're talking about really isn't. We're not just really blowing smoke and trying to, hey, let's secretly try to get people over there. No, it's really there's some unique things to experience in Rec Room and VR Chat. So. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. And a question about what will happen after Altspace is gone on March 10th, and he plans to do service on Sunday in Rec Room. Yeah, we're going to make some heavy plans. And so we'll talk with the elders about the transition, what date it is. We'll announce, hey, we're going to need some volunteers. And this is going to happen fairly quickly. So keep most of our communications, if not all, is going to be on Discord. So make sure to join our Discord with what Aaron had posted earlier.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, let's start to land the plane. Final thoughts, final questions, final comments.
Yeah, I wanted to bring attention to something Phantom said on the chat. He said, I suggest going into either one for the first time with a friend rather than entering the main lobby all on your or all alone, you know? And that is a magnificent point. Because, yeah, I mean, going all alone without no idea what you're doing, going like that into VR chat, is not gonna be fun for you for the first experience. You know what I mean? You really need to to go in there with someone you meet and know and trust, and let them guide you a little bit around, and actually having connections and knowing people in VR chat and in Rec Room is super important. I do believe even more important in VR chat, but still in every kind of experience.
Yeah. That's a really good point. And we have a group set up in VR chat, so it'll be interesting to see how we can do events off of that group. So we're still trying to figure all that out. Thank you, Aaron. Yes, vrchurch.org, mmo.church. There's a Discord link there. So definitely check that out. Coco, Alice, Alina, any final thoughts for you guys?
Be excited.
Yeah.
There's something, yeah.
It's easy to be sad,
Be
but be excited.
Be excited.
You sent a message in one of our DMs with the World Build Team. Bada bing, happy futures. That's going to be our new. That's going to
Bada
be
bing, happy future.
That was off the cuff. Off the cuff.
I think that's going to be like our rallying cry or a quote we put on the wall. You said it's something longer. You're like, bada bing, bada boom. I don't know whatever you said, but I just said, bada bing, happy futures.
Well, it's recorded. We can, yep, that should be our motto.
Bada bing, happy futures. Yeah. That's good stuff.
I was with Alice when she said it, and I told her how awesome whatever she just said was in real time, because we were in Altspace at the time when all this happened. Anyway.
Bada bing, happy futures.
Oh,
all right.
By the way, Alina, I think you have a little present ready and waiting for you on Discord.
Oh yes, it's in the Altspace chat on Discord. Yeah.
Oh,
when we were talking about preserving your avatar.
Oh. Made me cry.
Oh, I see it. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Oh, I didn't know you could put the chat overlay on the stream. Oh, that'd have been cool to have up the whole time.
Oh,
just discovered that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Just discovered.
Yeah.
Ready for next time.
Okay, I'll go in and check the gift out when we go in for the after this.
Yeah, no rush.
Right? So we're gonna go do that.
All right, chat. Any final questions or comments from the chat? Anybody? We'll just hang out just for a minute or two to get some just final thoughts in. But Coco, while we're just kind of hanging out with the chat here for a minute or two before we go, so you got the church side. Tell us a little bit about the technical side. You got the
right now, I just feel really, really bad for the tech industry at large because of them getting rid of MRTK. MRTK is, again, a mixed reality toolkit that is used to create and develop mixed reality experiences and VR experiences. It's a very cool SDK that they created, and they've just laid off the entire MRTK team.
Wow.
No warning to the community that uses this technology to develop things. Just all of a sudden, okay, all these people are fired. So I'm wondering now, it affects me too, but it also affects all of these people out there who create products for this. They did open source it, yeah. So that's what we're talking about. They're just not going to have Microsoft support behind it. So then what's the gatekeeper going to be? That's the question, because there needs to be a gatekeeper of it. And now how does that work? So that's the big question. It's still open source, but it's not going to have that support that businesses need.
Yeah, we talked before the stream, and this is kind of maybe getting the controversial side of things, and it's not intended to. It's just kind of sharing our thoughts, just kind of being open and transparent and honest. And I think when I think of we have appreciation for Microsoft, but also there's this aspect where they have shut down community building tools. So some of us were on Mixer. We transitioned from Twitch and dedicated ourselves to Mixer. I think Jate Live, Pastor Jate was one of those, and they just yanked that. That was a fantastic technology. They just shut that thing down. And I think when you think of
usually don't
AltSpace,
give you much warning either.
Yeah, very short warning. And I think AltSpace is another one. It's kind of like, man, I'm a fan of Microsoft, but also very hesitant to build a community. Like, let's say they announced another platform to build a community on. I'd be like, oh, I don't know. You kind of yank those out of the sky at will. So that's just kind of like something for Microsoft. Not that they're listening, but to think about. So that's a tough one. But in my view, there's always been kind of like the rumblings of AltSpace just not going to last because of Microsoft. They lasted initially because of Microsoft, but going into the future, it just didn't seem likely. And that was the conversations. But it does seem like VR Chat and Rec Room have the scrappy kind of like startup side to them that is looking to be a long-term player. And they're definitely ahead of the gate. So they have a lot of users. There's unique opportunity there. So I'm just excited about it. So we're sad and we're excited.
Maybe the MRTK team that was laid off will make their own company. Okay, Microsoft, thank you. Their own company. Maybe the AltSpace team will do the same thing, make their own company, make a better platform that people will actually be supported with. That is the tech community. That's the resilience that we have in the tech community is you let us go, which has happened to me before. Okay, I'll go make something better. That's what we do.
I love that.
Yeah, good thought. Yeah.
All right, my friends, that is it for today. And thanks for hanging out in the stream today. This will be on YouTube. Maybe we might pull the audio from this and make it a podcast. So why not? So we'll throw that up as well. So this will be up if you're just popping in and you didn't get a chance to just hear like the leaders of VR MMO Church's perspective on what's happening with AltspaceVR. So yeah, there you go. And so we'll continue this conversation and we'll be going into the future. We're excited about what's coming. We'll announce the launch date. We'll announce the transition. We'll do some farewell tours of AltspaceVR. And man, just get pumped up because like Alina was saying earlier, we're just getting started. So let's rock and roll with this thing. Let's jump in and it's going to be fun. So join us, come along for the ride, and it'll be exciting to see where things go. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you guys later. Nothing but love. Thanks for hanging out. Aaron, yeah, no problem, man. Was a pleasure to stream. Thank you for streaming. Thank you and Phantom for streaming every week.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah, now you guys are going to have to get used to streaming in Rec Room, which is actually pleasant. I really like streaming in Rec Room because of their camera. So yeah, we'll have some.
It works.
Yeah,
it works.
the camera works.
What a concept.
Yeah.
It actually works.
Oh, thank you, Nathan.
Yeah,
God bless
thank you, Nathan.
Oh.
All right, take care, everybody.
Awesome melodies. I saw that. Awesome
possum. All right, take care, everybody. And we'll be in Discord in a few minutes. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios. See you in un momento.
See you, boys. Take care.
Yeah. It's like,
Lose it all and find that you're slipping through my fingers, and the pain stays and lingers. Try to stay alive, but I fear I'm losing patience this time. All the things you said we do, they're just overused. All the things you said we try, they just passed us by. I'm getting sick of saving lives and leaving mine to dry. So I picked up the pace, left you, I don't need you, babe. Why does the world keep spinning round when all I did was hold you down? Feels like I'm losing patience when you keep me waiting. Why does the world keep spinning round when all I did was hold you down? It's so hard to save you when I needed running out and I'm losing you. It's like our love was fine, but we lost our minds and feelings, and you can blame me for the reasons. All the times we tried to fix this left me compromised. You told me to leave you, so I did, and now all of has died. I'm getting sick of saving lives and leaving mine to dry. So I picked up the pace, left you, I don't need you, babe. Why does the world keep spinning round when all I did was hold you down? Feels like I'm losing patience when you keep me waiting. Why does the world keep spinning round when all I did was hold you down? But it's hard to save you when I needed Why does the world keep spinning round? And all I did was hold you down. Why does the world keep spinning round? And all I did was hold